Pancake, everyone. How do you imagine a modern tank? Is it similar to those very first combat vehicles that were invented at the beginning of the 20th century? Heavy, vulnerable, and unwieldy. Of course, the task of tanks on the battlefield have not changed, but the tanks themselves. Now we'll find out. Abrams M1A2 SEP-V3 is the main battle tank of the United States. This tracked vehicle has been in service with the American Army since 1980. It is actively purchased by other countries, for example Poland, Egypt, Australia. The most effective in combat was the latest upgraded version of the tank created in 2021. It is made with the latest technology and equipped with advanced developments in this field, for example, special electronic equipment. The tank is equipped with computerized onboard equipment with radio communication and Navstar GPS navigation, the Trophy Active Protection Complex capable of shooting down anti-tank missiles, as well as a laser rangefinder and sights with thermal emitters designed to see a clear image of the target at long distances, more than 5 kilometers. The Abrams tank fires heavy projectiles with a penetration of 800 mm of steel armor and powerful engines that allow speeds up to 66 km per hour. Abrams is also famous for its durable, multi-layered armor. Almost all sides of the tank are armored: the forehead, the tower, the walls. Separately, it is worth noting the reinforced booking of the bottom, which protects against mines. However, it is this detail that makes the tank vulnerable. The weight of the tank in a full body kit with active protection kits and side screens reaches as much as 73 tons. Abrams often gets stuck in European soils and soil. In addition, the tank's armor has a uranium filler for strength, one of the features of which is that when the armor is damaged, a lot of extremely poisonous uranium dust is released. It is dangerous to breathe for a long time without a gas mask next to a damaged car. The Leopard 2A7 is being developed by the German company Krauss-Maffei-Wegmann KMW and is considered one of the most massive tanks of the NATO army. In general, the Leopard is similar in characteristics to the American car. It has a powerful diesel engine that allows it to reach speeds of up to 72 km per hour, a Trophy Active Protection Complex, a modern thermal imager, a laser sight rangefinder, and digital radio communication. The tank is famous for its upgraded smoothbore 122 mm cannon with 42 rounds of ammunition. It differs in the speed of the OBPS and the elongated barrel of the gun from 44 to 55 calibers. In other words, Leopard 2 is much more seriously armed than Abrams. In general, the shortcomings of the previous tank are still relevant for this. It is quite vulnerable in battle due to its large size, 9.6 by 3.7 by 2.78 meters, and weak protection in the turret of the gun. At any moment, the Leopard may find itself without its main combat means. Good combat vehicles are produced not only in America and Germany. The T-90 is a powerful Russian-made armored vehicle. This tank can be called a direct rival of the Abrams. The main advantages of the model are an improved combat turret module with a 125 mm cannon of increased accuracy, multi-layered armor, relatively lightweight, only 46.5 tons, and a powerful engine that allows the car to reach speeds of up to 70 km per hour. A well-designed motor and suspension allow this armored vehicle to work real miracles. After all, the T-90 is capable of literally taking off into the air, hitting small jumps. There is an innovative, unique protection called Curtain 1, which allows the T-90 to resist laser-guided missiles. The principle of its operation is quite simple. As soon as the armored vehicles fix laser beams on their body, the tank automatically fires special grenades that literally envelop it in an aerosol cloud. As a result, the beam loses its target and the tank itself simply disappears into the smoke screen. Separately, it is worth highlighting the dynamic protection system Contact 5. It includes special metal boxes with explosives which are located on the T-90 armor, so when an enemy shell reaches the tank body, the detonation of explosives occurs. At the same time, the case itself remains intact. This model is in service with many countries: Russia, Azerbaijan, India, Algeria, and others. Chinese companies have also succeeded in developing modern weapons. The development of the Type 99 tank was aimed at confrontation with the previously mentioned Abrams. And in some technical aspects, the Chinese combat vehicle copies or approximately repeats the technical aspects of the American one. The main armament of the tank is a 125mm caliber cannon. This is a powerful enough weapon. Accuracy of shooting is achieved through the use of a laser rangefinder, a wind sensor, a ballistic calculator, as well as a thermal casing of the barrel, and the double-axis stabilization ensures effective shooting on the move. The Type 99 can travel at speeds up to 80 km per hour, since it has a fairly powerful diesel engine and a relatively low combat weight of 54 tons. For the first time, this machine was demonstrated in 1999, but since then at least 5 modifications have been released. The tank has an active protection system, Missile Dynamic Protection (ERA). She uses powerful laser installations to attack the enemy's optics. The system warns that the tank is illuminated by enemy laser weapons and the turret of the car immediately turns towards the enemy. The laser power level disables all enemy optical devices and often severely damages the enemy gunner's vision. The latest version of the Chinese machine has a combat information and control system, an active protection complex with a millimeter range radar and a motion control system. Since 2010, the Japanese company has been producing tanks of the latest generation under the name TKX, or Type 10. This combat vehicle is one of the most high-tech in the world. A light but powerful tank was specially designed for the Japanese island terrain and the abundance of bridges. Its weight is only 40 tons and its combat strength is not inferior to all previously listed machines. A 120mm smoothbore cannon. The gun doesn't need to be loaded manually, the machine has an automatic loader. And since the tank is relatively light, this makes it possible for active maneuvering on the battlefield. Type 10 moves backwards at the same speed as forward. It can be assumed that the tank is poorly protected, but this is not quite true. Especially for this machine, Japanese scientists have developed a unique alloy that reduced the weight of armored structures, but practically didn't affect the protective properties. In addition, the tank is equipped with advanced electronic equipment, the C4I communication system. All information received by tanks is transmitted to the general network of the self-defense forces. One machine that finds an enemy can quickly transmit data to others and instantly receive instructions from the commander. In addition, each military unit included in this common network has its own status and characteristics, fuel and ammunition supply, vehicle condition. Along the perimeter of the Type 10 tower, there are groups of sensors and cameras that make up the threat detection system. They fix heat sources as well as enemy lasers of missile guidance systems. All this allows you to conduct an automatic search for the enemy and determine the degree of its danger. The computer is trying to recognize military equipment by silhouette and determine the threat level. The AIM system gives a hint on the vulnerabilities of enemy armored vehicles, and if, according to the computer, the equipment was not destroyed by the first shell, then there is a recommendation to refire. But it is worth noting that this tank was created for the defense of the Japanese islands and hasn't yet participated in any local conflicts. This high-tech machine is not manufactured for export and hasn't yet been tested in real battle. Many military experts are convinced that there is no alternative to tanks and there will not be for many more years. Companies around the world are actively trying to create the most perfect, the lightest, fastest, most powerful and durable tank in the world. If you are interested to know what ideas are being put forward in this regard, then be sure to continue watching our video and also support us with your like. And we continue and wish you a pleasant viewing. The firepower of the tanks of the future is represented by various options. Some experts believe that the development of the main firearm of the tank will go in the direction of further increase in caliber. Experts consider the 140mm cannon to be the most likely main armament of the new generation of tanks. The power of such a weapon is increasing, but the downside of such growth is an almost twofold reduction in the tank's ammunition. The same drawback is true for the 152mm cannon taken out of the head, which is being talked about on military forums. In addition to conventional gunpowder weapons, an electromagnetic or railgun belonging to the so-called kinetic weapons can become a promising type of artillery. The principle of operation of this device is quite simple. It consists of two rails in which there are electrically charged elements. A special pneumatic gun fires projectiles between the rails, which are made of plastic or other non-conductive electric current material. In the back of the projectile, there is an aluminum skirt which sequentially closes the contact between the rails and a large current begins to flow through it. The passage of an electric current in a magnetic field causes the Lorentz force, which accelerates the projectile to a tremendous speed, 4,500 meters per second, which significantly exceeds the currently available options. In addition, the huge kinetic energy of the projectile gives it the highest destructive power, even without the use of explosives. This detail allows us to talk about a decrease in the mass and the caliber of shells, and therefore about reducing the space in the car for their storage. So far, the railguns have not gone beyond the testing grounds, and those samples that are being created, according to their weight and size characteristics, are more suitable for installation on warships. Therefore, the installation of electromagnetic guns on tanks seem to be a matter of the distant future. Some combat vehicles are still being charged by a specially trained person. It seems that absolutely all tanks of the future will be designed only with an automatic loading system. Now it is being actively improved to take up less space in the car without reducing efficiency. But even the most advanced tank weapons in modern conditions are worth little without a fire control system. Now, the main directions of increasing the effectiveness of such systems are rapid target detection, reducing the time to complete a firing task, and improving the identification of friend-foe in order to avoid friendly fire. A necessary element of modern fire control systems are thermal emitters, as well as laser rangefinders. In the future, tank fire control systems are planned to be equipped with artificial intelligence, providing automatic detection and selection of targets, determining the most dangerous of them. Similar technologies are already used in some modern tanks, for example in the previously mentioned Japanese, but even this system will have to be upgraded. But the creation of more powerful and diverse anti-tank weapons and increase in the power and caliber of projectiles forces designers to pay significant attention to improving armor protection and survivability of the tanks. On average, the armor of a modern tank accounts for about 50% of its weight. This affects the mobility and maneuverability of the car. Therefore, experts thought about the discovery of new alloys to create armor material. There are various techniques in this area. The British superbine it by isothermal hardening. The technique involves sequential heating and cooling of the metal to eliminate micro cracks. Chemical and thermal treatment called nitrating also attracts the attention of scientists. Saturation of the surface layer of the metal with nitrogen, followed by the formation of nitrates, significantly increases the hardness of the surface and as a result increases the level of protection of the armor plate. This method allows you to reduce the thickness of the armor. In some cases, ceramic armor is also used, the same durable but lighter armor. Its disadvantage lies only in the fact that under the action of the projectile, it cracks and loses most of its protective properties, unlike steel, which is simply pressed in. Therefore, at present, ceramics can be used as an element of multi-layer armor necessarily in combination with other materials. The most unusual and promising type of armor today is electromagnetic protection. The concept of electromagnetic booking involves connecting two metal sheets to a capacitor system. There is a polymer or ceramic insulator between the sheets. Once in such an armor barrier, the projectile closes the electrical circuit and changes the trajectory of movement due to the electromagnetic forces acting on it. In addition, at a certain power of the current supplied to the plates, the projectile can simply collapse. The possibilities of electromagnetic armor look tempting, but the main problem with its implementation is the same as in the case of an electromagnetic gun, an energy source. Currently, no tank is capable of providing electromagnetic armor. The effectiveness of the combat use of tanks is increased not only by improving the combat characteristics of individual tanks, but also by team interaction, because the tank performs a combat task not independently but as part of more complex systems. Such a characteristic as command manageability has appeared recently. It characterizes the ability of the crew to receive and transmit information necessary to perform a combat mission. To do this, the tanks of the future should be equipped with combat information and control systems integrated with automated control systems of troops. The perfect prototype of the future can be called a fully robotic machine. The presence of information and control systems on the tank, as well as artificial intelligence, makes it possible to turn it into a remotely controlled vehicle. The development of an unmanned tank makes it possible to reduce its mass, but at the same time, a new class of military equipment appears that requires special control machines, the introduction of a transportation system, a management structure, and the operation of such tanks. Modern companies are carrying out very intensive work on the further development of tanks. Increasingly, countries are thinking about creating completely new machines, but this process is very expensive, so it is the modernization of old models that is popular. Tanks of the 21st century differ in many ways from their first prototypes, but they still have a long way to improve. If you know what other ideas and concepts exist about the tank of the future, share them in the comments, as well as do not spare a like if you like the video. There was a Pancake with you. Thanks for watching and have a good day.